Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason McAlishan, Public Information Officer, Winnipeg Police Service. Just like to welcome everyone here today. It's my pleasure to introduce a couple of very important people here today who are going to share with us a little bit of information regarding Neighbourhood Watch Program and its relaunch. The Winnipeg Police Service is pleased to announce the relaunch of the Neighbourhood Watch Program, designed to reduce crime by fostering partnerships between law enforcement and community. Again, my pleasure to introduce the Honourable Kelvin Gertson, Minister of Justice, and Inspector of Community Relations, George Labossiere. So I'll have them both come up one at a time, provide a little bit more information with respect to today's release. Mr.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Last summer, we announced that we'd be providing funding for the relaunch and the enhancement of Neighbourhood Watch. This is particularly important because it provides the opportunity for Manitobans, for Winnipeggers, to become involved and to become engaged in a challenge, in a problem. We know that we're dealing, and the police are dealing with, high levels of crime. And it's a concern in the community and the province overall. And when there are concerning things in challenging times, Manitobans, Winnipeggers, they want to get involved. They want to find a way to help. This particular program, the Neighbourhood Watch Program, isn't a new program, but this will enhance it. And it'll give those who want to be part of a solution in their community, in a larger city, but in the community that they live in within that city, an opportunity to be involved and to help. It'll connect them with our police, which is also very, very important. Too often, I think we look at crime and the challenges of crime as simply a policing problem, that is something that the police themselves have to solve all on their own. But I always say that we support our police, but our police are part of a larger community. They are community members themselves. They're shopping at the Costco and they're going to Jets games and those sort of things as well. They're part of the community, and the community wants to be part of the effort to support them. So with the relaunch of the Neighbourhood Watch Program, with the meeting that will be happening tonight and information that will be provided there, it gives an opportunity for Winnipeggers to get involved in a significant issue, to support our police, and for our police to be connected more so than they are even now to the community. So I again want to thank the Winnipeg Police Service and all those who are involved with this particular effort and all the efforts that they do each and every day in working to keep Winnipeg and Manitoba safe. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for attending today. I would like to begin by thanking Minister Gertson and the provincial government for their investment in the Neighbourhood Watch Program. I share in their belief that this program brings immense value to the community at large. And my confidence with the Neighbourhood Watch Program really begins from my early childhood days. If you allow me to share this briefly, I grew up in a small farming community in western Manitoba, a little town called Somerset. And at its peak, this town had about 800 residents in it. And the challenge of living in a small town of that size meant that every neighbor knew everything about you, what you had for lunch. They knew everything about your home, your family, and your property. That was one of the bigger challenges for a young teenager living in that environment. One of the greatest values of living in a small town like that was the same thing, that everybody knew everything about you, your home, your property, your family. Because as neighbors, we spoke to one another on a regular basis. And along with those relationships came elements of care, caring for one another, understanding each other's needs. Crime rarely occurred in that small community, but when it did, we worked together to communicate with one another and correct situations to help eliminate crime or repeat offenses. When a garage door was left open, the door to the shed, or bikes left on the front lawn, neighbors would call one another to remind them of the dangers of such activity. As members of the community, we supported one another, and though we didn't call it a Neighbourhood Watch Program formally at the time, it's important to note that it was exactly that. Small town living has benefits. Now, the city of Winnipeg can't be considered a small town anymore. We have grown by leaps and bounds over the past 20 years. The population now hovers around 830,000 people, and there are significant benefits to this growth, some detriment. As far as benefits, some of which we enjoyed last night, watching an NHL team that we host here win their first Stanley Cup playoff game of the year. Truly, big cities do provide great opportunities. And we have a city that has tremendous potential here in Winnipeg. But we would be extremely wise to remember and maintain those small town community values that allow us to care for one another, to know who our neighbors are, to understand each other's needs. The rebranding and relaunching of Neighbourhood Watch will help provide those very opportunities. The police service is in a position to help guide and support Neighbourhood Watch programs throughout our city. It's important to note this model will ensure police have the capacity to engage with those citizens who determine they want to become block captains. These will be the leaders in our community. By partnering with the community on these fronts, we establish what is a sustainable program that will benefit all who participate. It can begin with one person, one sole person who determines they want to take the lead by becoming a block captain for their area. They can connect directly with police online to advise of their desire, and our Community Relations Division will offer a variety of supports to these block captains. We will host block captain meetings to discuss best practices to establish their neighborhood watch and provide them with crime prevention materials and how they can effectively communicate with the community at large. The block captains will connect with their neighbors to establish strong communication ties. Now, there are a number of apps that are available to help facilitate those discussions between the block captains and the neighbors that are participating. To name a few, WhatsApp, Facebook, basic texting, email, whatever they want to use is fine. We're not going to dictate what has to be done by any stretch. In fact, we will not be directing how a neighborhood watch program must be run. And I can't stress enough that this program, though supported by the police service and sponsored by the government, will allow those neighborhood watch programs to be owned entirely by the community at large. We're there to support. It is owned by the community. We, as Winnipeg police officers, will be there to support, as mentioned. And what does that look like? We will have 2 members of our community relations unit given this portfolio, making them available 7 days a week, where block captains can reach via email and sometimes by phone to communicate with those coordinators to provide the support they need. Some of the many other tools that our block captains will have at their disposal: access to a library of crime prevention materials, ability to book speakers and presentations from our community relations unit, information, of course, that includes how to safeguard your community, your home, your property, learning how to best report crime, which is very important to do, and develop strategies to partner with their neighbors. We've printed some decals that can be posted on the inside of a door window to display the community commitment to this cause. Now, we have some highly successful neighborhood watch programs currently running in the city at this time. As Minister Gertsen has indicated earlier on, we have continued neighborhood watch over the years. It's not like it's stopped or anything like that. And some of the wonderful examples that are out there include the fact that some neighborhoods establish and organize neighborhood cleanup days, barbecues for the community, or even walking patrol groups amongst the sharing of other informations. The point I want to make with that is that every neighborhood watch program can be run differently. So how to sign up for a neighborhood watch? I mentioned it doesn't take an awful lot to commit yourself as a leader. Maybe you don't want to be a leader, but you want to participate. Our police webpage provides very easy access to this information. The page itself contains all kinds of crime prevention material, and I want to maybe draw your attention to the screen at this time so you can see it. What I'm looking at over here to my left is the Neighborhood Watch page on the Winnipeg Police site. This page, as mentioned, has just a plethora of information available to our members of the community who can watch at any time. This tile specifically is about Neighborhood Watch. And so the block captains, people who want to step forward and be a block captain, can simply click on the application and basically fill in their information. We'll have that contact then established in our database, and we will begin the communication with those block captains. And again, that will include a series of meetings to ensure they're on the right track and to help them along the way. Very simple form to fill out, and it's something that we're very much hoping members of the community step up and take this on. Going back, another interesting tool that we're able to develop with some assistance from the province here again and members of the police service is a tool that is just a map. And we've all seen maps, but the benefit of this one is that as the community can scroll on this map, you can see the city of Winnipeg. Each blue dot represents where a block captain is situated. So if you're not sure if there's a block captain in your general area, you can look up where you live on this map, scroll in, and you can see there's a block captain that each circle represents a 500-meter radius. So you could again know if there's a block captain, decide if you want to participate as a neighbor in that area, or become a block captain yourself. Winnipeg has always proven itself to be extremely generous of their time, whether it comes through donations or volunteering. I take a lot of pride in that as a Winnipegger, and I'm hoping this will be the same sort of mindset that our community has, that this type of volunteering truly benefits the community. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is for people to step forward and become part of the Neighbourhood Watch Program, whether it be as a participant or as a block captain. We will have an awful lot more coming your way in terms of crime mapping that will also be added to this as well in the very near future. That will allow neighbors again to look at the map, highlight whatever section of the map they want, and see what crimes have occurred in that area. Because education, awareness is a big part of the Neighbourhood Watch Program. Understanding what's happening around you so that you can properly react and properly safeguard yourself, your personal safety, your family safety, and your property safety is of the utmost importance. It's really about community engagement, community safety, and police supporting in all ways possible. But again, it's a community-run program. I do want to make one last pitch before I depart, and that is to say that Councillor Debbie Sharma is hosting a community forum this evening where we'll have a further opportunity to provide detail on the Neighbourhood Watch Program. This event will commence at 7 p.m. Doors will open at 6:30 p.m. It'll be held at the Maples Common Room at Maples Collegiate, and we invite all citizens of the city to join in to hear more about Neighbourhood Watch. And for those people who live in that general area, we have officers from that the closest district station, District 3, who will be on hand to answer any questions you have. Again, I thank you all for your interest in this program. It really takes an entire community to make a difference, and that truly is what Neighbourhood Watch is. Thank you. Anything further from either?
Okay. That'll conclude the formalities of today's briefing. If there are any questions or anything for me after the fact, by all means, reach out. Thanks very much.
Is there a question?
If there's questions for Inspector Labossiere or yeah.
Sure. Do you want the details of the program first? Go ahead.
Do you have questions for both or just for? Okay. Yeah.
So the need to have a question and the no, well, yesterday, 9 people have been found in the Minnesota. They suspect that they crossed illegally the border from Manitoba. What do you hear of that situation?
Well, there's been significant engagement with the federal government when it comes to over the last number of years when it comes to border crossings, and we need to ensure that we're having people cross the border in the right way, that they're going through the right process, recognizing that there are a variety of international treaties that are involved as well. But when it comes to CBA, our folks have been involved with patrolling the border as well, or that immediate area. But the border itself is generally under the purview of the Canadian Border Services.
What should happen in Manitoba? Would you like the government, the federal government, to maybe monitor more the border when we see that cases like that?
Yeah, exactly. So we want to ensure that people are accessing the border in the right way. And to ensure, at this stage of the year, we're still not out of the grips of winter. So there's risk when it comes to, as we saw last year, individuals who are crossing in an irregular way where there can be significant harm. So we need to ensure that people are using the border in the right way. And when they're claiming a variety of different statuses coming into Canada or going across the other way, that it's done the appropriate way. Yeah, I mean, it is primarily a federal responsibility, but I mean, in terms of patrols that we have at the border, I mean, we're always looking at, trying to do better in that way, but it is primarily a federal responsibility. Yeah. Have over the years in the different portfolios that I've had, because it's come up at different times, right? And at different times, there's been more of a surge than at other times, and often that's because of what's happening internationally or what's happening in the United States. But it's obviously been a concern and a problem for a number of years, not just a number of weeks. We expect them to ensure that the border is being used appropriately, and to ensure that those who are crossing in an irregular or an illegal way, that there are solutions found for that problem. And we saw what was happening in Quebec. There was discussions internationally in terms of how to address that. So it's not just solely an issue that happens at one border. We've seen challenges in Manitoba where people have lost their lives, right, going the other way, going into the United States. Yes. From Neighbourhood Watch, or from Border Watch to Neighbourhood Watch?
So, I mean, recognizing that this program, it didn't stop and restart, it's just pretty frankly. In terms of the interest of the past months, since August, I mean, have more board wanting to form, got block captains, form programs here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, to this point, we have had a couple of community forums with other councillors to do a bit of a soft launch, and we've had some people come forward indicating that they would like to step forward and become part of the program. I don't have numbers in terms of how many people have actually done this to this point. Certainly now, with today's date, we're going to do a hard press to make sure the community is aware of what we can offer and how we can partner with them. And so we hope to have more information for you as time goes on, but I don't have those numbers at this time. That's a great question, because in fact, the way the program is developed is built to ensure we have the proper capacity. And part of the key is that by having block captains represent a larger group of citizens, we essentially are moving the information from those citizens through the block captain to the police, making it far more efficient for us to address the needs of the community. And this is truly what we want. We want to be able to address every need. The block captains will serve a number of functions, one of which will be to help them understand how they can report crime to police, in addition, of course, to all the safety-related materials that will help them avoid crime in the first place. But again, by channeling things through the block captain, we actually create great efficiencies for the police service. So capacity is actually going to be solved in many ways by going this direction. Anything further? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. The rest of your day. I'll follow you.